What's up everyone? Ains and Dan here from Season Gaming, and today we're going to be talking to you about aftermarket PlayStation 4 controllers. And so we have owned, used, and played with these controllers extensively, and we're going to be covering three of the main ones today, which are the Nacon Unlimited, the new version 3, the SCUF Vantage, and the Astro C40. The only one we're not covering here is the Razer Raiju. I have used the Razer Raiju and I had quite a few complaints with it, and so I didn't keep that controller, and instead we're just leaving that one out. So if you have questions about that one, this is not the video for you. Regardless, looking at the PlayStation 4 DualShock 4, the standard controller, real quick, some of the things that people generally don't like about this controller. The thumbsticks are really shallow, they don't give you very good movement. The D-pad is the traditional kind of 4-button placement, which is not good for radial motions. The bumpers and triggers are pretty lackluster. The triggers are very shallow. And so there's just a lot of things that people look for in an aftermarket controller for the PlayStation 4 because, as you know, Sony doesn't make an official elite controller like Microsoft does for the Xbox, which is kind of the gold standard. And so these aftermarket companies have put these options together, and we're just going to go through them one by one. We're going to start just by telling you the details of what you can expect with each controller from a technical perspective, and we'll start with the SCUF Vantage. So, SCUF Vantage, first of all, it uses a long braided micro USB cable. Comes with a hard shell case here, and out of the controllers it probably comes with the most customization options. So everything on this controller can be customized. The faceplate can be changed out to different colors. The thumbsticks can be changed out from domed, concave, tall, short. D-pad can be a 4-way or a radial 8-way, as you can see here. The triggers can be elongated, flipped off, changed, etc. On the back, it does have 4 paddle options. They're not connected, as you can see here right now, but they can be taken on and off. And then it also has, which is unique to the Vantage, these side buttons that you can put on called the SAX buttons, the sax buttons. It also offers the capability for, this is the wireless version, so this is $170 for the wired version, $200 for the wireless version, which runs on Bluetooth. You can plug in a headset here, and it has volume adjustment here, and of course you can switch between wired and Bluetooth as well. So one of the other unique things about the SCUF 2 is out of these 3 options, it's the only one that can turn on the PS4 remotely. And that's because this is identified by the console as a Bluetooth device, whereas both the Nacon and the Astro have an adapter that you have to use a USB to plug in for. However, on the negative side, this SCUF, has been known for have some Bluetooth issues intermittently, where the connectivity won't be instant response. It's had a few firmware updates that have tried to fix that. I have seen better response over time as I've been using it, but just know that those are out there, whereas I haven't seen any issues. I don't think we've seen any issues with the Astro or the Nacon. The only other thing to point out on this one is that because it's so customizable with the faceplate, everything else I already talked about, it does have a little less solid feel. The faceplate is plastic. Some of these things are just like a lighter rubber. They are not solid metal modules for the thumbsticks, which actually have a not as nice feel as the Astro and Nacon. And just some things like that to point out. So anyway, that is your SCUF Vantage in a nutshell. Dan, you want to talk about the Astro?
Alright, so here we have the Astro C40. This is $200. Comes with, we'll take a quick look in the box. I don't know if you can see this here. We've got, this is the module, the wireless module that you plug into the PS4. A few different thumbsticks, concave, convex, it's got a little bit of everything. And then it comes with a screwdriver, which actually allows you to take the faceplate off and switch the modules around. So if you're more inclined to have the offset modules, like thumbsticks like this, you can take these out and move them back and forth. This can go here where the D-pad is. Which is kind of handy. So if you're an Xbox player, if you're a PS4 player, you can switch those around, no problem. Okay, some of the positives about this controller. First of all, it's $200. It's a premium price tag, just like the SCUF wireless. It's very weighty, very solid controller. Feels really good in your hands. I mean, I guess that's subjective. But you can have the parallel offset sticks, like I said, or the offset sticks and then the parallel. Just 4 screws, remove this faceplate, these modules pop out. If there's an issue with your module, you experience drifting, or you get stuff stuck in there, or you get a lot of Cheetos and you got a bunch of disgusting nastiness inside there. You can pop these out for $25. You can order another one from Astro, replace the module, and it'll work. These are specific. The sticks and the D-pad ones are a little bit different, but they're the same price. Let's see, there's hair trigger locks on the back right here. Pop up and down. You also have these two programmable buttons to whatever you need them to do. Up here you have a wireless and wired option, and then you also have your two different programmable settings. So you can have one set up for like racing, you can have one set up for say first-person shooters, and I think the Nacon also has that kind of, and the SCUF does too, or no. The SCUF only has one.
Yeah, the SCUF has a standard profile. The Astro has two profiles. The Nacon you can have four. Four
different ones on the Nacon. Also, the software that comes with this, the Astro C40, is pretty robust. It's got a lot of different settings. There's an EQ setting too for your headsets, so you can kind of mess around with that and find your best your best sound for any standard headset. You just plug it in right at the bottom. And you cannot turn your PS4 on with this one, like we said before. The SCUF is the only one. At $200 for what you get with this, it is a little bit pricey. Compared to some of the other ones. I think the D-pad and the different sticks run about $20 to $25 a piece. It does come with you can get a disc D-pad if that's something that you want to get. It's, I mean, I bought one because I buy everything. So it's very nice, it's very high quality, but it is $20. Then you've got the charging cables. This one is a proprietary, it's not a braided cable like the other two. It's just your standard micro USB, but it really needs to fit in this odd shaped hole here. You could probably find a micro USB that would fit in here, but it's not super easy. I've tried several of them and I can only get the one that actually came with it to fit in there. So that's unfortunate. But otherwise a very solid controller, but again very pricey. So you are definitely going to be putting some money into this, especially if you want the extra customizable options.
Very good.
All right.
So let's take a look at the Nacon. Now I just picked this up recently, and so it's kind of the newest of the bunch. This is the version 3, which is known as the Unlimited. If you've been following Season Gaming for a while, I actually did a video review and written review on the original Nacon, the version 1, which I used for a couple years. There are a lot of improvements on this compared to the original version 1. So starting at the top again, this is actually $150, so it's $50 less than the wireless options you get here, which is actually pretty significant, yet it doesn't feel like it's any cheaper of a controller. It's a very solid feeling controller. Beautiful hard shell case again, and then a couple unique things to the Nacon. It actually has a USB-C cable, so unlike the micro USBs on the other, this is more proper format that you'd like to see a USB-C, and any USB-C will work, but it comes with a really nice braided cable. It also comes with this kind of small box which has some unique things in it. So on the Nacon, the handles come apart and you can actually change the weight of the controller by putting weights in the actual handles, which I will show you briefly right there. And so that's adjustment for people who like a heavier or lighter controller. You can also take off the thumbsticks. It comes with extra domed or convex thumbsticks, and you can change these rings out as well, which allows you to change the angle of adjustment of the thumbstick. As you may recall, I was mentioning on the DualShock 4 here that the angle of the thumbstick is really kind of shallow and it doesn't give you a lot of fine-tune adjustment, whereas on this you can. It has the ability to have 4 profiles, like we said. You can't see them here. If I could maybe, can't turn this on right now, it's not on Bluetooth mode. So you can see this lights up here. There are 4 LED lights here that not only will tell you what profile you're using, but actually tell your battery life as well. So, you know, if there's 4 lights, you're over 75%, 3 is 50%, 2 is 25%, etc. Looking at the underside of the Nacon, you can see it doesn't have paddles like the others. So if you're used to clicking those open paddles, it's a little different. Instead, it has S1 through S4 buttons integrated into the handles here, excuse me, that you can push in, and those can be custom programmed as well. It has the ability to be wired or Bluetooth. It has 3 setting adjustments here, which matches to your software. So like the others, all 3 of these can be used on the PlayStation 4 or the PC, depending on the setting. And it also has integrated mic, mute, and volume control buttons on the back here as well. One thing to note is that the D-pad here is non-interchangeable like it is on the Nacon and the SCUF. So this is a four-way D-pad, as you can see. Now, how Nacon kind of overcame this is in the software, which is very extensive for the Nacon and I like a lot. You can adjust this between a four-way and an eight-way D-pad. So say you're going to play a 2D game, an old platformer or something, you can make this so it functions like a four-way instead of an eight-way radial D-pad in the software itself on a profile. It also does not have hair triggers. Hair triggers very popular on a lot of the aftermarket controllers. This does not have them. Of course, you can configure the dead zones, the sensitivity of the triggers in the software as well. The other thing to point out that I really like on this one compared to the others is that all of the bumpers, the triggers, and even the face buttons are like a dark metal, and they have a really good feel to them. And then the last thing I want to mention, which you may notice a little bit, and is one of those kind of funny features, but is actually really cool for the controller, is that this lights up, and in the software you can adjust this light in many, many different ways. It can be about 20 different colors. It has 4 quadrants, so you could put 4 different lights around them. You can make it pulse, you can make it turn off and on. You can do all kinds of funny stuff with it. So if you're someone who really likes to just customize and play around with it, that's actually a really neat feature and unique to the Nacon. So that's really the highlights of what you get from a technical perspective for all 3 of these controllers. What we're going to do now is give us a minute to rearrange here, and we're going to come back and give our personal opinions on what we think after having used all 3 of these.
Okay, so just to give our quick opinions about these and what we prefer. For me, I think all 3 of them are a pretty solid choice if you're looking for some kind of aftermarket controller that you don't like the DS4. For the price, I think the Nacon is probably the winner for me. It's comfortable, it's weighty, it's got a ton of options. It's a gorgeous controller. It really is. It's got a lot of little, bells and whistles that are just kind of extra, but they provide that kind of personality for the controller. The Astro, for me, I think is probably a more of a pro gamers, esports, that's kind of what they were going for. It's weighty, it's solid, but it's very, very pricey for what you get. And as far as the SCUF goes, I just don't like the build quality of it. For $200, I think you can do better with either one of these other ones. It's a little, plasticky, like Ains said. So for me, I'd probably, picking one of them, I'd go with the Nacon for the price, for $150.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. So I used the Nacon original, like I said, for a couple years, really liked it. I switched to the SCUF recently. I do like the SCUF, but I agree with you that the build quality just isn't up to par. I think, like we said, mostly due to the customization aspects of it, but it just in your hands doesn't feel as good from a quality perspective as the Astro and the Nacon. I think overall, after kind of using all 3 and just, I got the Nacon recently, but already in love with it. It just has a really, really good feel, really good shape. If you like the Xbox Elite controller, it's probably the one that feels size and shape closest to that as well. And it's just got good software. It's kind of the best all-around option, I think, for an aftermarket controller. And as we said, it's $50 cheaper.
That's huge for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I can't really say too many negatives. If I wish I could adjust the height on the stick, and that's about it. But other than that, it's a really good controller. So. And yeah, so in the end, I think I'm going to keep the Nacon, and we'll find a new home for the SCUF.
Check eBay.
So there you have it, everyone. That's the technical details on these 3 aftermarket options. I think at the end of the day, the best all-around option for both of us is really the Nacon Unlimited, and the fact that it's $50 less than the other 2 options is just a bonus win at the end of the day. So if you have any other questions, something we didn't cover, we have these here, we use them all the time, so just let us know. We're happy to answer any questions. As always, thank you so much for tuning into Seasoned Gaming. Please subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment if you appreciated the video, and we will see you next time.